Yeah, so first, my name is Tyree Dixon, and I work for FanDuel Sports. And question for everybody, I'm an entry-level DevOps engineer. I'm primarily, my expertise comes from Linux and Ansible. I just took my CKA. I'm awaiting my results now. So just if anybody can give me some advice on if I want to transition to either a different company, because I'm a contractor as well for FanDuel Sports. So my contract is up in April. So I'm looking to transition, and I just wanted to know if anybody had any advice on some projects that I need to be partaking in that looks great for recruiters, or do I need to do I need to polish up my Python skills, or and just any advice that you would give to an early developer as myself. So.
How's it going? Well, thanks for the question. I'll introduce myself briefly, and then we may get answers from other folks here. So I'll share a couple thoughts, and then if anybody else wants to jump in, we'll do that. So my name is Dustin Trapani. I'm a principal solution architect at Red Hat. I've been here for 6 years. What that means is I spend all of my time with customers. So I've been working with Kubernetes since about very late 2015, kind of really more 2016 is when I got hands-on with it. Ansible a little bit longer than that. RHEL a lot longer than that. Linux, Unix, considerably longer. One thing I found to be true, and it doesn't matter where you are, what you do, what technology you work with, at the end of the day, we're all here to serve a business. And so as crucial as the technology is, to me, real success is understanding how do I take these technical elements that I'm passionate about, that I'm skilled at, that I want to pursue for my career, which we have to do, and how do I apply that to solve a business problem? And so learning how to understand what they're looking for, what they need, will carry you through all sorts of different technical evolutions.
So my name is Andy Block. I'm a distinguished architect at Red Hat. I come from more of an application perspective, but also I know Ansible quite well. I also do a lot of work in the upstream community, and especially since you mentioned you're kind of looking on the application side, but also have a background in automation. Look into automating based upon, Dustin mentioned, based on your business use case. Some technologies in the cloud native ecosystem that you might look into: Helm, Argo CD, Flux. These are primitives that you're going to need no matter what if you're going to be working in Kubernetes and OpenShift. So that can easily apply no matter what, but then you're going to have certain areas also that might be business specific. Are you going to handle secrets management? Are you going to be able to handle security, handle certificates? Especially with an infrastructure background, I'm sure you've done all that and more, right? So if you're looking in the Kubernetes space, for certificate management, Cert Manager. Red Hat has an official offering of Cert Manager. These are common technologies that are across the cloud native ecosystem. And everyone here, I guarantee, later on, whether it be the happy hour or afterwards, are happy to sit down with you and talk about some of the other projects they're working on, because the ecosystem, which you probably are starting to get into, is huge. So as Dustin mentioned, know where you want to begin, because don't try to drown. You will fail, or you're going to go crazy at the same time. That's the best advice I can give you. Anyone else?
Erik. So in what will surprise nobody here on the stage, I'm going to give an answer that's very different than any other answer. What do you do in your spare time? You don't have to answer this now, but
who are you, Erik?
Who am I? I'm Erik, so I'm a director of technical marketing, which is also why it shouldn't be surprised that I'm going to say something different, because my job is meaningless. So the reason I ask you what you do in your spare time, everybody in this room most likely works in a very technical field, doing very technical things. And when we hire into our group, the thing I look at on the resume is almost never the work history. It's like all the other stuff. So you asked, are there any projects I should look at, any things I should do? It's like, do you even have a GitHub account with repos that you've committed to? Like, when you go home at the end of the day, do you just watch sports? Or do you tinker and do projects, and I do stuff with my computer, I build electronics, I do all this other stuff. I look for technical people when I hire, because I have a technical group that does technical things. And the person who's not really crazy passionate about technology, that's not going to be the person that I want to hire. So it's almost like it doesn't have to even be anything work specifically related. If you are one of those truly technical people and you can express that I'm smart, I figure things out, but like technology is my passion. Like that's the best thing you can do, in my opinion, for your career, which is certainly a different answer than anybody else. Yeah. Next question.
Rob?
Hello, I'm Rob Hirschfeld from RecN. We are very excited, and our customers are very excited about OpenShift virtualization. And also, it's often presented as a developer, sort of from a developer lens. I'm interested, meaning a whole bunch of YAML and GitOps and things like that. I'm interested in how people who are used to VMware and migrating from VMware from an operational perspective should look at or talk about OpenShift virtualization to encourage migration.
I mean, I'm doing a project right now.
I can talk about it.
Yeah.
You first, and then we'll.
Go ahead. I can always talk too, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
go first then.
So I'll start, Rob. Just I'm wearing the Vert hoodie, so I probably should, because it's a really interesting topic. Because when I think back, 2 years ago, a lot of it was like, hey, come to Cloud Native, come to KubeCon, learn all these wonderful things. A lot of the things, it wasn't necessarily a one-to-one, here's how you used to do things, because here's a different way to do it. My background's heavily infrastructure. It used to be like, build everything, N+1, hardware failure, things like that. And then we all learned about chaos engineering and all these wonderful things, build it into software. So how are we architecting things is very different. At Red Hat, we brought Vert into the cloud native ecosystem, more than 6 years ago. And there were some things that we did the same, but some things we did very different. But over the last 2 years, we spent a lot of time giving you, hey, if you want to do Vert things in a Vert way, we can give you an interface in the console. We can update ACM to do that. And in many customers, at Red Hat Summit, we had NASA there. And they're like, I've got a big room, and I have the VM people on one side of the room, and I've got container people on the other side, and we yell back and forth, or we use some of the toolings to figure it out. So I guess your question's pretty interesting, because it's how much am I doing things the way that I'm used to and I'm comfortable with, or how much am I doing it? And we'll meet the customers where they are. And yeah, Andy's chomping at the bit to give some feedback too.
Yeah, I actually spend a lot of time with Vert, and coming from an infrastructure background, you're going to be using a lot of times an automation tool like Ansible. And the best part about jumping in on the cloud native ecosystem is that you can take and step in as much or as little as you want. So I always say, introduce some cloud native technologies as you feel comfortable. Looking for simple wins are, you don't want to manage the declaration of the VMs in OpenShift GitOps, Argo CD, but I still want to manage the configuration of the VMs itself, the guts, the operating system, etc., using Ansible. We can do that. So that slowly brings you into the OpenShift world, but then keeps you in your sysadmins in a familiar space with using Ansible. And then as you start to incorporate more technologies from the cloud native ecosystem, you can start to bring more and reduce more, and then basically by the end, you'll feel that sweet spot of what technologies are going to work and which ones don't. What I recommend you don't do is force cloud native on VMware admins. That's going to fail miserably. VMware admins, I've worked with them for the longest time. They want to do things the way they've been doing it for the last X number of years if they feel comfortable about. We're here in Atlanta. Don't take my Coke away from me, please.
And just a quick thought on that too, right? So there's a couple of very specific Red Hat training courses exactly designed to take a VMware administrator into managing machines in OpenShift virtualization. The other thing I found to be very helpful is to just understand what the VM administrators are doing. What is your day-to-day? What are the things that, if you're getting called at 2 a.m., what is that for? Understanding those workflows, and then it's like, okay, great, I understand what you're doing here. This is the new way. You're doing the same work or similar work, but here's the new tools and interfaces. And then it really helps to transition, because now we've taken what they care about and we've showed them the new tooling.
Hi. Well, first I'd like to thank the whole OpenShift community. I've been here for like a year and a half, deploying my first clusters on customer on-premise. And there was a great story for real. And our customers know they really enjoy working with OpenShift, all the operators, like leveraging all the cloud native functions, as you say, like step by step, which is really great. And now they start asking about what's the big picture for like OpenShift 5 version. So I don't know if you are talking about it. Is that even a subject on its own? what's the timeline looking for? Like, no, we're like 420. I don't know how long the OpenShift 3 version lasted because I'm still like young, so I wasn't there at this time, let's say. So yeah, how is it looking?
Yeah, so OpenShift 3 historically, I believe it was 3.11. We just released OpenShift 4.20. We've got no comments on any future major release. Obviously, we work fairly closely in the upstream, so if you watched this summer, there were some discussions on like, hey, what would it take to be a Kubernetes 2.0 from there? But other than that, I mean, you know, we're going to talk to our customers, we're going to talk to our partners. I think that's the only non-answer I can give you at this point, unfortunately. Yeah, and I mean, you can actually, if you go online, you can actually see like kind of our 12 to 18 month roadmap with the features we're working on. Is a great point. It's so funny, you know, working at Red Hat. I've worked at proprietary software companies and the like, and you know, almost never do we have a conversation. Oh, and this is under NDA, and we can't talk about it. Yeah. It's like, hey, it's out there.
That's why I ask. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody on stage, for helping us answering these questions. But I have a few questions for you all. One related to Argo CD. As we can enable sharding with Argo CD, if we can attach multiple clusters to the Argo CD, right? So is there anything in the roadmap that we can enable sharding based on the number of applications instead of clusters?
I just came from ArgoCon, so in the upstream, there is some work being done around how we handle sharding. I know that AppSets, they were looking at some features around that, but from an OpenShift GitOps perspective, I'm not sure offhand whether we have any features. I don't know if there are any product managers from Argo here. So Gerald Nunn is here. Gerald Nunn's a technical marketing manager. He's actually over at ArgoCon right now. If you swing by the Red Hat booth this week, he's going to be around all week. And you can work with other members of the Red Hat team. We can get him to talk with you if you want.
All right. The next question I have is regarding RACM and AAP integrations. So as we have like fleet of clusters, like more than 400 clusters running right now, and if you want to run linear data operations, like some kind of OCCLI commands across the fleet, is that AAP integration a better option, or should we go with our custom API development to call those kind of?
I have my personal
Me
opinion.
too,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll share a couple thoughts on that. First off, if I'm managing inside Kubernetes, I want to do it with Kubernetes tools, which I would look at Advanced Cluster Manager, Red Hat Advanced Cluster Manager, with 400. So for context, sir, I've got another customer I work with, I won't mention their name, but they have several thousand nodes, and they're looking to add another 1,200 clusters. So scale is something I'm very conversant with. The tool you're looking for is called Advanced Cluster Manager. Your account team can set you up with it, but it is designed to manage fleets. We do testing at the 1 to 2,000 cluster range. There's a lot of factors, right? I'm not saying it's going to work right out of the box, but that's the tool I think you're looking for. And it's got governance, risk, and compliance. It's got global search. It's got the tools you need.
Right. Let me rephrase my question. We already leverage ACM right now, but if I want to run OC commands across 400 clusters, I can authenticate using ACM, right? So is the AAP like playbooks to run those commands a good option to get those reports?
I guess the question is, are you using ACM to manage your configurations via GitOps? Because if you want to do an upgrade, you can just update the cluster version CR, and that gets rolled out across your clusters. So that is the more declarative cloud native approach instead of going in and doing it via AAP. I love Ansible, but use the tools that make the most sense for the use case.
So if I have to get all the cluster nodes across 400 clusters, how do I do that with ACM?
Search in ACM.
What?
It's a search in ACM.
It's a search in ACM. Yeah, you can go ahead and you can look at all the different clusters, and you can manage them appropriately. You can set it up via labels, via selectors within ACM's policy management framework.
Oh, so you want me to? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the idea is that we can manage the versions through GitOps and be able to track it that way, which is a lot safer versus going in and doing random OC commands. It's just my opinion.
Okay, that makes sense. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, I have two questions. The higher end side, The public cloud configuration will be good, or private cloud will be good, where I can get a better performance.
The question, which cloud will give you the best?
Let's say you are configuring the AWS, or you are putting it as a VMware local cloud, or you are like bare metal OpenShift you are configuring. Where will I get the better performance?
There's no direct answer because it's highly dependent on the workload and what the workload is sensitive to. So like, if you have a critical latency application where the literal like code path through things like the kernel is important and you need predictable latency, then something like bare metal on Red Hat's real-time kernel is going to be the way to go. But if you have an application that doesn't care about that, then maybe I don't care about bare metal. Like, and if I need to be closer to the user because I have a latency from a network application perspective, well then unless I can install a bare metal machine close to them, like maybe the cloud is the best solution for that particular. So it's highly workload dependent what the best place to do it is going to be. I know that's kind of a non-answer, and I hate giving the it depends answer, but unless.
And also in cloud, you will have also permitted as a service. So you could have also the same low-level access to hardware. But I think it's based on the use case, on the workload. It's a key point. And also, how do I want to manage my data? Do I want to keep my data, or can I put my data in the cloud? And after, do I have all the resources internally? If we look at the area of the accelerators for AI, the GPU, some company will say, I don't want to invest, I want to use cloud. So it's more based on the resources you can access, on the performance. You can do both from a private cloud or for public cloud. You could have all level of performances.
Okay. I have one more question on that. Normally in the VMware environment, NSX is a good, powerful SDN. But in the OpenShift side, normally what is your recommendation in general? In the like private cloud, which one you recommend? I think somebody mentioned that Caligo they are using in the public cloud. So what is your suggestion?
So my name is Aniket. I'm a senior manager in OpenShift networking. With OpenShift, what you get by default is OVN Kubernetes-based networking. Okay. That's the one that we recommend, and that works across both public clouds, bare metal environments, as well as vSphere. Of course, like you can do a bunch of other things as well based on what hardware you have. There are a few NICs that also support things like OVS hardware offload and things like that. So again, going back to your question about performance, the right answer is it depends, but then of course, there's also other things that you can consider if you have the right NICs and everything as such that determines where you should be running those workloads as well. Okay.
Bill, this point of time, like for the acceleration, HA proxy, what kind of acceleration normally you use? And Bill, SRIOV is supported this point of time?
SRIOV is already supported as a operator in OpenShift networking. HA proxy is somewhat of an ingress question, I think, what you're asking. Right. So that's kind of two orthogonal things. But as far as SRIOV, there is a SRIOV network operator that supports integration with all bunch of hardware vendors as well.
Okay. I have one more question, the last question. Service mesh, how much percentage of people are normally currently they're using? Service mesh?
Say it again one more time.
Service mesh adoption.
How many customers are using
No, yeah. I mean, what percentage of people are generally using it, or?
I mean, I don't know that we have an answer we can give, and I don't know that we know the answer offhand because we have lots of customers that are disconnected from. Oh, disconnected. So like we would never know if they were using it or not. Yeah. I mean, go.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen over the last 2 years adoption, and I remember, Istio, like 2019 was like the year of Istio and everything like that. Service mesh, all the things.
I'll say one thing.
But yeah, it's definitely like, in the top 10 adoption of, some of our bigger add-on operators. But
the big thing I will say is have a use case for service mesh. That's the biggest thing. Don't just deploy a service mesh, just deploy it because it sounds cool. There's a lot of things you need to consider when it comes to infrastructure management for service mesh. So only use it if you have a valid business use case.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's definitely, there's certain things like GitOps, one of the first things you'll often use out of the box these days. Service mesh is usually one of those. As I'm maturing, as I'm adding more clusters,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. So how is Red Hat planning to evolve OpenShift virtualization in 3 to 5 years? Are we expecting any DRS, vMotion kind of features coming in?
It's kind of vert roadmap questions.
So, yeah, I mean, we've got, like, is there something that you're looking for that we don't have today? I mean, storage vMotion is now generative.
Like VMware capabilities, like live vMotion.
We've had live migration for like 5 years, so, yeah, go ahead, Dustin, yeah.
No, I think the sentiment is generally DRS, which I think is, if I heard you correctly, that was what you were asking about,
Yeah,
dynamic resource scheduling, right? And then vMotioning. So if you were to look back a couple of years, maybe those capabilities would not have been, they would have met some use cases, but not all use cases. And I would argue that, again, just given the market conditions, we've invested really heavily in those functions. And I would argue today that I think for most, if not all use cases, you're going to get what you need today in the box, ready to go. So those features around DRS and vMotioning, all that's, it's pretty well baked at this point in time.
I think the only one we don't do, one of the ones we don't do, and I don't know that we will do, is that like critical HA one where it like runs the VM in 2 places at once and on it. Like I don't think we're going to do that one anytime soon. That's pretty nasty. And
low adoption is expensive. I mean, we could build it something on pacemakers. It's not theoretically impossible.
it's different. That's like active across 2. Anyway, but generally speaking, like we started with the easy stuff. And now we're doing more and more of the advanced stuff. Like some of the really fancy storage migration use cases that's sort of related to DRS, like we'll probably tackle some of them, but some of those things we're going to rely on the partner ecosystem to provide. Like there's a gentleman over here from a storage vendor, just because that's their expertise. Like we can't be the best at everything. So we try to focus on the things where we know that we can deliver reasonable feature quality and reliability, and then we rely on the ecosystem for a lot of the other things.
So what's the roadmap for 3 to 5 years? Is there any?
I don't have it memorized, and we don't have any of the Vert PMs here. But come by the Red Hat booth at the KubeCon proper, and we'll have somebody who can show it to you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Daniel, do you have a question?
So I have Miro board question. So are there any plans to fully integrate HashiCorp Vault as an API extension of OpenShift?
I mean, technically.
I mean, we got the external secrets operator now.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we don't like. Yes, IBM bought HashiCorp, but Red Hat didn't buy HashiCorp. So I think we'll do more to integrate with them, but I don't think there's going to be a point where you see like Red Hat OpenShift shipping with Vault like out of the gate with those APIs sort of integrated or what have you. Like that'll continue to be sort of heavy air quotes, right? An ecosystem ISV solution that we work together with IBM. Don't quote me on that.
Hey, I just have one final question. So we were trying to do a POC using OpenShift AI. Okay. So right now it supports very limited models. So we are not able to use models such as Arima or Prophet. We are not able to use it inside the OpenShift or the OpenShift AI operator doesn't support that. So how can we utilize the open source models that are available?
Because so Erwan Gallen, I'm working in the Red Hat AI BU. So if you look at VLLM, I think VLLM is one of inference engines supporting the bigger number of models, and open source models are supported by VLLM. And in Red Hat AI, Red Hat AI Inference Server, Red Hat AI OpenShift AI, we have validated models. So it's a subset of these models. We test more, but it does not mean that these models are not supported by the inference engine, or you cannot run it. So could you repeat the name of the specific model you had an issue?
Yeah, I think Arima, Prophet, Fourier, these are some of the open source models that are available.
Yeah.
Which we are not able to use inside the.
Okay. And so you have because it depends if technically they are already supported by VLLM. Do you know if they are supported? Because you can look in the community if these models are supported, and they should be supported later on OpenShift AI. And we have a subset of models or architectures that we support. For new model architectures, for example, for everything about vision, about audio, we had to add some specific extension to get these multimodal models, but usually if they are open source, if they are supported by VLLM, you should not have big blockers, and we can look, you can ask also if you're an OpenShift AI customer to simply ask to support. But we really integrate with VLLM, which is the leading inference engine supporting open source models.
Okay, so probably what I'll do is we'll submit a ticket with Red Hat and.
One more. So this is a VM related question. So just thank you all for the questions. Some of them are fairly technical around etcd limits, Kafka. I think those questions might be best handled at the booth. At booth 100 tomorrow at the Red Hat booth. Another question that we have here is, with Broadcom's recent direction, do you think we'll see a move toward more VM-focused user experience model?
I'm interpreting the question on behalf of the questioner. So, I mean, we're continuing to improve the user experience within the virtualization console in OpenShift Container Platform to make it easier to use VMs. And so I guess that means the answer is yes. If you have feedback on the user experience and where it's lacking, the two lovely women sitting at the user experience research table outside would love to get your feedback. So be sure to stop by and tell them what you think. But I think...
And Lightspeed. Talk about Lightspeed and the feedback you want there too.
Well, yes, but that's really unrelated at this time. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely doing things to improve that experience. And then to Stu's point, you know, OpenShift Lightspeed, the virtual assistant that we added to the OpenShift Container Platform, you know, should be able to help with virtualization-related questions. And if it's not doing a good job, let me know, because that's the thing that I'm focused on. So, yeah, true. And then, as mentioned, ACM and ACS both support things with Virt. So we're trying to tell and have a very cohesive virtualization support story across all those things. So, I mean, I guess.
So you're wondering what's next. We are pleased to announce we will have OpenShift Commons in Amsterdam. The CFP for that is open as of today. We will also be at Community Day at Red Hat Summit, which has already been mentioned. We'll be back here in Atlanta in May. You can submit proposals through the Red Hat Summit proposal system and mark down that you're interested in Commons. So we can get your submissions through the Red Hat Summit submission process.